The alien woman said people smelled strange. Then she was shocked when she smelled me. HFY Sci-Fi. Salith noticed the smell before she noticed the human. That was normal for her kind. Smell came first always. Shape, color, sound, all of that came later. Scent was truth. Scent was language. Scent was memory. The Deep Space Station Kepri 9 was full of smells. Metal, recycled air, cooling fluids, and the layered scents of dozens of species living too close together. Salith had learned to filter most of it out. She had to, or her senses would drown. Still, some smells stood out. The insectoid traders smelled sharp and dry, like heated stone. The waterborne diplomats carried clean, flowing scents that reminded her of rain. The tall avian species smelled light and nervous, like wind before a storm. And then there were the humans. Humans smelled strange. Not bad, not good, just wrong. Their scent did not flow smoothly like others. It came in layers that did not blend well together. Old stress, new stress, calm sitting beside fear, warmth mixed with something cold and heavy. To Salith, it felt like listening to too many voices at once. Most of her kind avoided humans when possible. So did Salith. She was walking through the central research corridor when the smell hit her again. Stronger this time. Different. She stopped without meaning to. The scent was human but not like the others. It was deeper, steadier, less scattered, still complex but held together by something firm underneath. Confused, Salith slowly turned her head. The human was standing near an open wall panel, half his body inside it. He wore a simple station uniform, marked with the symbol of engineering support. His hair was dark and unremarkable. His face looked tired but calm. He did not notice her. Salith stayed still, her breathing slowing as her senses focused. The closer she stood, the clearer the scent became. It shifted slightly as he moved, but it did not break apart like most human scents did. It felt controlled. This should not be possible, she thought. Humans were emotional creatures. Their records said so. Loud feelings. Sudden reactions, unstable histories. Their scent should reflect that. Chaotic, uncontrolled, leaking emotion into the air. Yet this human scent was contained, like a sealed vessel under pressure. Salith took a small step closer. The human pulled himself out of the panel and sealed it shut. Only then did he notice her. "Oh, sorry," he said quickly, stepping aside. "Was I in your way?" His voice was calm, neutral, respectful. Salith blinked, surprised by how normal the words sounded. She had expected tension. Humans often carried it without realizing. "No," she replied carefully. Her speech was slow, measured. "You were not obstructing." He nodded. "Good. I just finished recalibrating the power flow here. Should be stable now." She did not respond right away. Her attention was still locked on his scent. It changed again, slightly warmer now, touched with relief. Task completed. No pride, no display, just acceptance. The human glanced at her, clearly unsure if the conversation was over. "Is everything okay?" he asked. "Yes," Salith said. "I was merely observing." He smiled faintly. "Right, well, have a good cycle." He walked away, his footsteps fading down the corridor. Salith remained where she was long after he left. For the first time since humans had joined the station, she felt unsettled not by discomfort but by curiosity. Later that cycle, Salith accessed the station archives. She searched human biology, human psychology, human history. She had read parts of it before, but never with purpose. Humans came from a death world. That was common knowledge. Extreme climates, high gravity, constant competition from predators, disease, and even their own kind. What interested her now was not how humans survived, but how they adapted. Their emotional systems were powerful but dangerous if uncontrolled. Fear helped them live. Anger helped them fight. Grief helped them remember. Over time, they learned restraint, control, balance. They did not remove emotion. They learned to carry it. Salith closed the archive and leaned back, her sensory membranes tightening in thought. That matched the scent. Pressure held behind barriers. layers stacked carefully instead of spilling outward. Still, it did not explain why that one human felt different. Over the next few cycles, Salith noticed him again and again. His name, she learned, was Evan Hale. He worked long hours. He spoke little. When problems appeared, he fixed them without drawing attention. When others panicked, his scent sharpened, but did not scatter. Once, she saw him stay behind after his shift to help a young alien technician who had made a serious mistake. There was no anger in his scent, only patience and quiet focus. That confused her more than anything else. Among her kind, strong scent meant strong feeling, and strong feeling demanded expression. Holding it back caused sickness, mental damage, even death. Yet humans did it constantly. Salith began to wonder how much weight they were carrying inside themselves. The answer came sooner than she expected. An alert echoed through the station. Not loud, but urgent. Power instability in the lower research ring. Environmental systems struggling to compensate. Salith was already nearby when the lights flickered. Gravity shifted slightly enough to make her balance falter. Fear burst from her scent before she could stop it. Others reacted worse. Several species froze, instincts overriding training. One dropped to the floor, overwhelmed by sensory overload. Salith tried to calm herself, but the smells around her became chaotic. Panic, shock, confusion. It pressed against her senses like a storm. Then Evan appeared. He moved quickly but not recklessly. His scent changed the moment he assessed the situation. It sharpened, deepened, but remained unified. Fear was there but locked beneath resolve. "Everyone listen," he said, voice firm but controlled. "Environmental support is rerouting. Stay low, follow the floor lights and move toward the auxiliary corridor." Some obeyed. Some hesitated. Evan did not shout. He did not threaten. He simply repeated himself, stepping forward, guiding, steady presence in the chaos. Salith watched him closely. This was it. This was when the mask should break, when the pressure should escape. It did not. Instead, his scent grew stronger, heavier, like a mountain holding back an avalanche. Salith realized something that made her sensory membranes tighten in shock. Humans did not suppress emotion because they were weak. They suppressed it because they were strong enough to hold it. The situation stabilized quickly. Systems recovered. The danger passed. As others slowly relaxed, Salith noticed Evan's scent soften. The pressure eased but never vanished. It settled back into its layered state as if nothing had happened. He caught her looking at him again. "You okay?" he asked. Salith hesitated. No one had ever asked her that after sensing her fear so clearly. "Yes," she said softly, "I believe I am." He nodded once and turned away, already moving on to the next task. Salith stood alone, her thoughts racing. Humans smelled strange because they carried their past, their fear, and their hope all at once. They did not let it spill into the world. They bore it quietly. And for the first time, Salith wondered what would happen if that restraint ever broke. The thought sent a chill through her senses. Not fear of humans, but awe. Salith could not forget the human's scent. Even after several rest cycles, it stayed with her, layered in her memory like a puzzle she could not solve. She had sensed fear before, courage before, even quiet determination, but never all of them held together so tightly inside one being. She found herself adjusting her routes through the station without meaning to. Corridors near engineering, maintenance levels, places where humans often worked, places where Evan Hale might be. At first, she told herself it was research. Understanding another species was part of her duty as a xenobiological analyst. Scent behavior mattered. Emotional control mattered. But deep inside, she knew it was more than that. She wanted to understand how humans carried so much without breaking. One cycle, she finally allowed herself to stand closer to Evan than before. He was in the engineering bay, working on a power relay with two other humans. Their scents filled the air, overlapping in the familiar strange way. Yet Evan's scent stood apart. The other humans smelled scattered, mild irritation, fatigue, a hint of humor. Their emotions leaked freely, though still controlled compared to most species. Evan was different. His emotions were present but wrapped, like sharp tools stored safely away. As Salith observed, one of the humans made a mistake. The relay sparked, forcing them all to step back. The younger human cursed softly, his sense spiking with embarrassment and fear of punishment. Evan only exhaled. "It's fine," he said. "Happens, let's reset it." No anger. No dominance display. His sense shifted just enough to steady the others. Salith felt something twist inside her. Among her people, leadership was loud in scent, commanding, overpowering. It forced others into alignment. Human leadership, at least this one's, felt quiet. Anchoring, after the task was complete, the other humans left. Evan stayed behind, checking readings one last time. Salith stepped forward. "Engineer Hale," she said. He turned, surprised but not alarmed. "Oh, hello again." She hesitated, then decided honesty was better than confusion. "You smell different from other humans," she said plainly. Evan blinked. Then he laughed, a short, awkward sound. Thanks, I think." "That was not intended as praise or insult," Salith said. "It is an observation." He scratched the back of his head. His scent flickered, uncertainty, mild discomfort. "I don't really control that," he said, "as far as I know." "You do," Salith replied. "You simply do not realize it." That made him pause. They stood in silence for a moment. Evan did not rush to fill it, which surprised her. Many species hated silence. "What do humans do?" Salith asked carefully. "When their emotions become too heavy?" Evan thought about it. "Different things," he said slowly. "Some talk. Some work, some don't handle it well." "And you?" she asked. He looked away, not out of fear but habit. "I keep going," he said. "Things still need fixing." Salith absorbed that. Keep going, not release, not collapse, containment. Later that cycle, Salith spoke with others of her kind through a long-distance link. She described human scent patterns, their emotional restraint, their strange balance. The elders listened in silence. At the end, one spoke. "Be careful," the elder warned. "Creatures that hold too much can become dangerous when they break." Salith understood the warning, but she did not think humans were dangerous because they might break. She thought they were dangerous because they rarely did. The next test came without warning. A research vessel docked unexpectedly, carrying survivors from a distant outpost. The outpost had suffered a biological failure. Several species aboard were sick, their sense twisted and unstable. Medical teams rushed to respond. The station's systems struggled to adapt. Fear spread quickly. Salith was assisting in analysis when alarms changed tone. A containment breach in the docking ring. Environmental seals failing. Panic exploded in scent. This time it was worse. Some species reacted violently under stress. Others collapsed. The air became thick with emotional noise, overwhelming even Salith's trained senses. She felt herself losing focus. Then, like before, Evan arrived. He was not part of medical. He was not assigned to containment, but he came anyway. His scent struck Salith like a physical force. Fear was there, stronger than before, but wrapped tightly around something harder: commitment, responsibility. He coordinated with others quickly, calmly redirecting power, sealing sections manually when automated systems failed. At one point, a containment door jammed. Emergency protocols warned of exposure risk. Evan stepped forward without hesitation. "Wait," Salith said sharply. "You will be exposed." He met her gaze. "If I don't, others will," he said. His sense surged, not panic, not heroism. Acceptance. Salith felt something cold run through her. He knew the risk. He understood it fully, and he chose to act anyway. Together, they sealed the breach. The danger passed. Medical teams stabilized the survivors. When it was over, Evan leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. His scent finally cracked, not breaking but thinning. Exhaustion, pain, old grief stirred by new danger. Salith stood closer than she ever had before. "You were afraid," she said. "Yeah," he admitted. "Still am." But you acted, she said. He gave a tired smile. Fear doesn't mean stop. That stayed with her. In the following cycles, Salith began to see humans differently, not as chaotic, strange-smelling beings, but as carriers of quiet storms. They laughed easily. They joked. They complained. But beneath it all, they held deep reserves of endurance shaped by a harsh world. Their scent was history. One cycle, Salith finally understood something that startled her. Humans did not smell strange because they were unstable. They smelled strange because they carried multiple emotional states at once and functioned anyway. That realization made her uneasy, not afraid, respectful. When Salith returned to her quarters, she recorded a private note. Human scent indicates layered emotional endurance far beyond initial estimates. Recommend reassessment of human psychological classification. Not volatile, not fragile, compressed. She paused before ending the recording. And potentially unstoppable. As she rested, Salith wondered what would happen if humans were ever pushed far enough that containment was no longer possible. Not because she feared them, but because she feared what kind of strength would be released. And deep down, she suspected the galaxy was not ready to find out. The warning came too late. Salith was in the analysis wing when the station shuddered so hard that several lights shattered. The floor tilted, gravity stuttering in uneven waves. The air changed instantly, filling with sharp panic from every direction. This was not a simple failure. This was damage. Alarms screamed, overlapping in confused layers. Emergency lights flashed red and white, casting long shadows across the corridor. Salith's senses were hit all at once. Fear, shock, pain, too much. She dropped to one knee, struggling to filter it. Then the smell of smoke reached her membranes. A violent force tore through the lower levels of Kepri 9. Unknown attackers, later identified as a hostile faction, had planted devices along the station's structural spine. Systems failed in sequence, one after another like falling bones. Sections lost pressure. Fires ignited. Internal defenses went dark. Panic became chaos. Salith forced herself upright and tried to move, but another tremor threw her against the wall. Her vision blurred. Her scent spiked with terror, spilling into the air without control. This was how her kind reacted under extreme stress. She hated it. Through the noise and fear, one scent cut through everything. Human, not scattered, not broken, focused. Evan. He appeared at the far end of the corridor, moving against the flow of fleeing crew. Smoke curled around him. His uniform was torn at the shoulder, blood darkening the fabric, but his steps were steady. His scent hit Salith like a shield. Fear was there, stronger than she had ever sensed from him. But it was wrapped tight around something deeper, iron resolve, fierce protection, and a burning need to keep others alive. "Salith," he called when he saw her. "Can you move?" She tried to answer, but her throat tightened. She nodded instead. He reached her side, gripping her arm firmly, not roughly, grounding. "Structural breach 2 levels down," he said quickly. "We need to get you out." Another explosion rocked the station. The ceiling cracked. Fire burst from a vent, blocking the main exit. Salith froze. Her instincts screamed to flee, but there was nowhere to go. Her scent flooded with fear, thick and uncontrolled. Evan stepped in front of her without hesitation. "Stay behind me," he said. That simple sentence carried weight, not command, promise. They moved through smoke-filled corridors, Evan guiding her through alternate paths. When doors jammed, he forced them open manually. When systems failed, he bypassed them with tools torn from his belt. Every action cost him something. Pain sharpened his scent. Old injuries stirred. Memories rose, loss, failure, faces long gone. Salith smelled it all. And still, he did not stop. They reached a collapsed junction where several crew members were trapped under fallen debris. A young avian alien cried out, wing pinned and broken. Others huddled in shock. Salith looked at Evan. "We do not have time," she said, fear tightening her voice. He already knew. His sense surged, not anger, not pride, decision. "We make time," he said. He knelt, ignoring the warning alarms screaming about instability. Using broken metal and his bare hands, he began lifting debris piece by piece. His muscles shook. Blood ran freely now. Salith felt her senses strain as his scent intensified. Pain, strain, fear, and something else, defiance, not against the attackers, against the idea of giving up. When the last trapped crew member was free, the corridor behind them collapsed fully. Fire swallowed the path they had come from. They were cut off. Emergency lights flickered and died. Darkness fell. Salith's breathing quickened. Her kind did poorly in darkness, especially under stress. Her scent spiked again, sharp and desperate. Evan leaned close. "Hey," he said softly, "listen to me." She focused on his voice. "We're alive," he continued. "We're still moving. That's all that matters right now." "How?" Salith whispered. "Are you still calm?" He was silent for a moment. "I'm not," he said. "I just don't let it drive." That answer struck her deeper than anything before. They found a maintenance shaft leading upward. It was narrow, unstable, and required climbing. Salith hesitated. Evan went first, showing her where to place her limbs, steadying her when she slipped. Each movement made his injuries worse. His scent thinned, stretched to its limit. Halfway up, another shockwave hit. The shaft buckled. Salith lost her grip. Evan caught her with one arm, the other barely holding onto the ladder. The sudden strain tore a raw sound from his throat. His scent exploded. For the first time, Salith felt the edge of something terrifying beneath his restraint. Rage, not wild but cold, directed, focused entirely on keeping her alive. "Don't let go," he said through clenched teeth. She did not. Somehow he pulled them both back to safety. At the top of the shaft, they collapsed into an emergency shelter just as automated bulkheads slammed shut behind them. Silence fell. The station still shook, but the shelter held. Evan slumped against the wall, breathing hard. His eyes fluttered, fighting darkness. Salith knelt beside him. "You are severely injured," she said. "Yeah," he replied weakly. "Feels like it." His scent was breaking now, not shattering but leaking. Pain, exhaustion, old sorrow rising unfiltered. Salith stayed close, steadying her breathing to calm her senses. She had never done this before. She focused on his scent, not to analyze it but to understand it. Humans carried their pain forward. Every loss, every failure, every fear, they stacked it inside themselves and kept moving. Not because it was easy, because someone had to. Rescue teams eventually reached them. Medical staff rushed Evan away, surrounding him with unfamiliar scents and sounds. As they took him, his eyes opened briefly. "You okay?" he asked her, even now. "Yes," Salith said firmly. "Because of you." He smiled faintly, then slipped into unconsciousness. The attackers were repelled hours later. The station survived, damaged but standing. Many did not. When the chaos finally settled, Salith stood alone in the medical wing, staring through the transparent barrier at Evan's resting form. Machines hummed softly around him. His scent was faint now, muted by medication but still present, still layered, still human. Salith realized something that made her senses ache. Her people feared beings who lost control, but humans feared something else entirely. They feared failing those who depended on them. And that fear made them stronger than any instinct. As Salith turned away, she knew the galaxy had just witnessed a small glimpse of humanity under pressure. Not unleashed, but tested. And it had held. She wondered how much more they could endure. And what would happen if one day they decided they would not endure quietly anymore? The station took weeks to recover. Kepri 9 was alive but wounded. Entire sections were sealed off, their corridors silent and dark. Repairs echoed day and night as crews worked without rest. The air carried the heavy scent of loss, mixed with relief that the station still stood. Salith felt all of it. She walked slowly through the medical wing, her steps careful, her senses open but controlled. The smells here were different now. Less panic, more exhaustion. Quiet grief layered beneath determination. One scent drew her forward every time. Evan Hale. He remained unconscious for several cycles. His injuries had been severe. Broken bones, internal damage, burns. By all medical standards, he should have taken much longer to stabilize. But humans were stubborn. When Evan finally woke, it was not dramatic, no sudden movement, just a slow breath, then another. His eyes opened, unfocused at first. Salith was there. "You are awake," she said softly. He blinked, then recognized her. A faint smile touched his lips. "Guess I didn't break anything important," he said. "You broke many things," Salith replied, "including medical expectations." He laughed quietly, then winced. "Yeah, that sounds about right." Even now his scent was layered. Pain lay heavy, but beneath it was calm acceptance. No self-praise, no fear of what he had done. Salith sat beside him. "There is something I must tell you," she said. He turned his head slightly toward her. "Okay. My people judge worth through scent," she explained. "We believe it shows the truth of a being." "That's a lot of pressure," he said gently. "Yes," she agreed, "and humans smell overwhelming to us." He raised an eyebrow. "Still, more so now," she said honestly. She described what she had sensed during the attack, his restraint, his fear held in check, his willingness to suffer so others would not have to. "When your scent finally cracked," she said, "I understood something." "What's that?" Evan asked. "You do not carry your pain because you enjoy it," Salith said. "You carry it because you refuse to pass it on." Evan was quiet for a long moment. "Someone has to," he said at last. That answer stayed with her. Days later, the station council convened. Representatives of many species gathered, still shaken. Some questioned whether humans were too dangerous to remain integrated. Others argued they were essential. Salith requested the floor. This surprised many. Her kind rarely spoke unless necessary. She stood at the center of the chamber, aware of every scent around her. Fear, curiosity, doubt. She spoke clearly. "During the attack, many of you sensed human behavior and found it alarming," she said. "You saw endurance beyond what you believed safe." Murmurs spread. "You believe humans are dangerous because of their strength," she continued. "You are mistaken." The chamber grew quiet. "Humans are dangerous because of their restraint." She explained how humans evolved on unstable worlds, how they learned to live with constant threat, how they carried emotional weight instead of releasing it into others. "They smell strange because they are many things at once," Salith said. "Fearful and brave, gentle and fierce, broken and functional." She paused. "When a human chooses to act, it is not because instinct forces them," she said. "It is because they decide that someone else matters more." Some species shifted uneasily. Engineer Evan Hale entered collapsing corridors not because he lacked fear, she said, but because he mastered it. The council listened in silence. Salith finished with words that would be recorded and shared far beyond the station. "If you remove humans because you fear what they might become when pushed," she said, "you will lose what they already are." The vote was unanimous. Humanity would remain. In the cycles that followed, something changed. Other species began watching humans more closely, not with suspicion but curiosity. Some asked questions. Others observed silently. Salith noticed that humans did not change their behavior. They still joked, still complained, still worked too long and rested too little. They still smelled strange. One cycle, Evan was cleared for light duty. He walked slower now, favoring one side, but his presence was the same. Salith met him near a viewport overlooking open space. "You should be resting," she said. "I am," he replied. "This counts." They stood together, watching distant stars. "My people now understand human scent better," Salith said. "Oh?" Evan asked. "Yes," she said. "We believe it represents a promise." He looked at her, confused. "A promise that no matter how heavy things become," she continued, "you will continue forward." Evan considered that. "Sometimes we don't feel very strong," he admitted. "You do not need to feel strong," Salith said. "You only need to continue." He smiled at that. As the station slowly returned to normal, reports spread across known space, not of weapons or battles, but of human endurance, of a species that did not flee when systems failed, of beings who smelled like worlds that tried to break them and failed. Salith recorded her final report. Human scent profile updated, she said. Indicates extreme emotional compression, adaptive resilience, and protective instinct. She paused, then added a personal note. To underestimate humans is dangerous. To misunderstand them is worse. She ended the recording and looked once more toward the stars. The galaxy was vast, cold, unforgiving. Humans would not conquer it with force. They would endure it, and if necessary, they would stand in its fires so others did not have to. Salith breathed in the air of the station, now familiar, now changed. Humans still smelled strange. But now, when she sensed that layered, steady presence, she felt something her kind rarely experienced: safety.